The most shocking moment came not with a shout, but with a whisper. In the grand living room of his family's Accra home, packed with important guests for a lavish anniversary party, Kofi Mensah's own father pointed a trembling finger towards the door. His voice, cold and sharp as broken glass, cut through the festive music. "You are an embarrassment. Get out of my house." The crowd of aunts, uncles, cousins, and high society friends fell silent. All eyes burned into Kofi's back. He didn't argue. He simply nodded, turned, and walked out into the humid night, the weight of their collective scorn pushing him forward. But as the heavy gate closed behind him, Kofi did something strange. He smiled. And he pulled out a simple phone, making a call that would shatter their world forever. What secret was the disgraced son hiding, and why was he smiling on the worst night of his life? Hello guys, welcome to Echoes of the Baobab Tree. Kindly support our channel by giving the story a like, subscribe to the channel and share it with your loved ones. Let's continue the story. 2 weeks earlier, on a bright Tuesday morning, Kofi's plane had touched down at Kotoka International Airport. He had been gone for 12 long years. He left as a skinny, heartbroken boy of 18, chased away by constant criticism. Now, at 30, he carried himself with a quiet calm. He believed time had healed old wounds. The reason for his return was beautiful, his parents' 35th wedding anniversary celebration in 2 weeks' time. Maybe this time, they will see me. Not my failures, just me, he whispered to himself, watching the familiar streets of Accra roll by from his taxi window. Kofi did not go to the family house in the rich area of East Legon immediately. He went to a modest hotel in OSU. He wanted to prepare his heart. For days, he walked through old neighborhoods, visited his primary school, and ate street food he had missed. His heart was full of hope. He bought a simple but elegant navy blue suit for the party, spending his own carefully saved money. He did not want to pretend to be anything he was not. He was just Kofi, coming home. The day of the party arrived, that Saturday, December 14th. The Mensah house was a palace of noise and color. Giant banners, a live high-life band, and the smells of jollof rice and kelewele filled the air. From down the street, Kofi could hear the laughter. His hands were sweaty. He took a deep breath, walked through the open gate, and entered the compound. For a moment, no one noticed him. Then, his auntie turned. Her eyes widened. Look who the wind has blown in. Kofi. Her voice was like a bell, and suddenly, the music seemed too quiet. The whisper started like rustling dry leaves. Is that the one who ran away? I heard he was driving Tiaro in London. Look at his simple suit. Kofi's smile felt stiff on his face. He moved to greet his uncle. Welcome back, the uncle said, but his eyes were busy checking Kofi's worn-down shoes. Kofi's chest began to feel tight. He searched the crowd for his parents' faces. He found his mother near the giant anniversary cake. Her eyes, when they landed on him, showed not joy, but worry. Kofi. You came, she said, pulling him into a quick hug. Then she held his shoulders. But my son, why didn't you tell us you were coming? And this suit, her voice trailed off. Before Kofi could answer, his older brother, Kwame, appeared. Kwame was dressed in a shining Italian suit, a gold watch glittering on his wrist. Kofi. The prodigal son returns. Kwame boomed, slapping Kofi's back too hard. So, tell us, big man. What are you doing now? Finally become something. The crowd around them leaned in, eager for the answer. Kofi kept his voice calm. I am doing well, brother. I have my own small business. Kwame laughed a loud, empty laugh. Small business. We don't need another pure water seller in the family. We have doctors and engineers. The people around them chuckled. Kofi felt his heart crack, just a little. The final blow came from his father. Mr. Mensah walked over, his face a storm cloud. "Kofi, you have disrupted this day with your appearance," he said, his voice low and angry. "For years, you bring us no pride. Only questions from our friends. You see your cousin ESI. She is a surgeon in America. And you? Small business." He spat the words out. "You are a footnote in this family's success story. You should leave before you shame us further." Kofi's world shattered into a million pieces. The hope he carried for 2 weeks evaporated. Kofi did not cry. He looked at his father, then at his mother who looked away, then at Kwame's smug face. A deep, cold calm settled over him. He simply nodded. "I understand. Happy anniversary," he said, his voice clear and steady. He turned and walked back through the crowd, which parted for him like the Red Sea. He could feel their pity and their judgment like hot sun on his skin. He walked out of the gate, away from the music and the lights, into the quiet, dark street. Alone outside, Kofi's hands finally trembled. Not from sadness, but from a fierce, burning resolution. He pulled out his simple phone. He dialed a number with an international code. A voice answered instantly. "Yes, sir." Kofi's eyes, looking back at the glowing house, were like dark stones. "It's me," he said, his voice firm and powerful, a voice none of his family had ever heard. "The meeting with the President and the Minister of Trade is confirmed for Monday morning. Release the press statement to all major networks at 6 a.m. tomorrow. Let the world know that Kofi Mensah has come home." He ended the call. The man they had just thrown out was not a pure water seller. He was Kofi Mensah, founder and silent chairman of Aya Technologies, a billion-dollar empire spanning 3 continents. And tomorrow, at dawn, his truth would explode like a bomb over the city of Accra, leaving his family's world forever changed. The explosion was not made of sound, but of light and information. At exactly 6 a.m. that Sunday morning, every major news channel in Ghana and across the continent shattered the peaceful dawn with the same unbelievable headline: "Mysterious billionaire unmasked, Accra's own Kofi Mensah returns." On screens in living rooms, market stalls, and buzzing phones, Kofi's face, the same face scorned just hours before, beamed with a calm authority. The news presenter's voice was electric with excitement. Aya Technologies, the global tech giant behind the Aya mobile payment system used by millions, has just announced its founder and chairman is none other than Ghanaian-born Kofi Mensah. He has returned to launch a historic, multi-billion-dollar initiative called Project Root right here in Accra. In the Mensah family's quiet kitchen, where Kwame was scrolling on his phone, the cup of tea slipped from his hand and smashed on the floor. 2 hours earlier, as the first light touched the city, Kofi was already awake. He stood on the balcony of his penthouse suite at the Kempinski Hotel, overlooking the Atlantic Ocean. He felt a deep peace, not happiness, but the peace of a soldier before a necessary battle. His lawyer assistant, Omar, brought him a tablet with the press release ready. "Sir, it will be an earthquake," she said softly. Kofi nodded. "Some structures need to shake to see if they were built on strong ground," he replied. He thought of his father's stony face, his mother's averted eyes. Today, they would see the man they refused to know. Back at the East Legan house, chaos had replaced the party decorations. Kwame was shouting, replaying the news clip. Mr. Mensah, still in his bathrobe, kept adjusting his glasses, reading the same article over and over, his face pale as ash. Aya Technologies. Kofi Mensah, net worth estimated at $8 billion, he mumbled, as if the words were in a foreign language. Mrs. Mensah sat on the sofa, tears streaming silently down her face, but they were not tears of joy. They were tears of terrible, gut-wrenching shame. "We told him to leave, we called him a footnote," she whispered. By 8 a.m., the house was under siege. Not by enemies, but by friends, neighbors, and journalists. The gate buzzer never stopped ringing. Cars lined the street. Everyone wanted to congratulate the family, to get a piece of the reflected glory. Auntie burst in, breathless. Your son. A billionaire. I always knew he was special. Kwame wanted to scream at her hypocrisy. His father could only stare, realizing every person now crowding his home had witnessed him disown his most successful child the night before. The embarrassment he feared had arrived, but from a direction he never imagined. Kofi, meanwhile, was in a quiet boardroom at Air Technologies' new Accra headquarters. He met with the Minister of Trade and a stern, impressed group of government officials. Maps and plans were spread out. Project Root, Kofi explained, his voice confident, will focus on 3 things: digital hubs in every region, full scholarships for STEM students, and interest-free loans for local tech startups. We build from the ground up. The minister shook his head in awe. This is transformational, Mr. Mensah. What brings this generosity home? Kofi looked out the window towards his old neighborhood. A tree that forgets its roots cannot bear good fruit, he said simply. The family's desperation grew. Kwame, driven by a mix of panic and greed, tried to call Kofi. The call went straight to voicemail. He tried text after text. Brother, we are so happy for you. Come home, let us celebrate you properly. No reply. Mr. Mensah finally found his voice. We must go to him. We must apologize. For the first time in his life, Kwame saw fear in his father's eyes. The foundation of their world, the hierarchy where money and status were everything, had just proven that the man at the very top was the one they had thrown to the bottom. That afternoon, Kofi did something unexpected. He took off his expensive jacket, rolled up his sleeves, and visited Nima, the bustling community where he spent part of his childhood. He walked with his old friend, Malik, who ran a community center. Children played in the streets, recognizing him from the news. Uncle Kofi. Are you rich now? A little girl asked. Kofi laughed, a real, warm laugh he hadn't felt in days. I am blessed, little one. And remember, being rich here, he pointed to his heart, is more important than here, he pointed to his pocket. He promised Malik the first digital hub would be built right there in Nima. As the sun began to set, the black luxury car carrying Kofi's parents and Kwame arrived at the towering Aya headquarters. They had to push through a crowd of reporters. They were ushered into the sleek, silent lobby, feeling out of place in their formal clothes. When the elevator opened on the top floor, Oma was waiting. Her expression was polite but cool. Mr. Mensah will see you for a few minutes. They were led not to a grand office, but to a small, quiet sitting room. The message was clear, this was not a family reunion, but a meeting. Kofi entered. He wore the same simple navy blue suit from the party. The heir left the room. His father stood up, his mouth opening and closing like a fish. Kofi, my son, he began, his voice cracking. Kofi held up a hand, not with anger, but with a steady finality. Please, sit. They all sat. The silence was heavy. His mother began to cry openly. We are so sorry. We were blind. Kofi listened. He let them pour out their regrets, their excuses, their newfound pride in him. He felt nothing but a quiet pity. When they finished, Kofi spoke, his words measured and clear. I forgive you, he said, and he saw hope flare in their eyes. But then he continued. But forgiveness does not mean going back. You valued the glitter, not the gold. You loved the title, not the man. Project Root will help many Ghanaians, but you will not benefit from it through me. No contracts, no jobs, no special access. My journey taught me that true family is not always by blood. It is by heart. He stood up, signaling the end. His father looked broken. Kwame was speechless. As Kofi walked to the door, he turned for a last look. I hope you find peace. Goodbye. He stepped out, leaving them in the elegant room that felt like a cage. Downstairs, his car was waiting. Omar asked, "To the airport, sir?" Kofi looked at the city, his city, now full of promise. "Yes," he said, a true smile finally reaching his eyes. "My work here is done." As the car pulled away, Kofi Mensah, the boy they rejected, left not with anger, but with the ultimate power, the power to define his own story, and to plant seeds for a future where worth was measured by character, not by coin. And back in the quiet sitting room at the top of the tower, a family finally understood the cost of their judgment, as the brilliant city lights began to twinkle below, forever out of reach. Thanks for watching.